Pretty much.
And we're live.
We live, are we?
We're live. Hello.
All right, Jem. How are you? All right.
Not too bad.
If you see me like looking up like that, it's not because I'm drunk and my eyes are going to the back of my head. I've got three monitors. I've got the one in front of me, which is sort of at this level, and the other two monitors are sort of that level. So,
hang on. So I've just got to turn you off because I've got the chat on.
Okay.
There you go. So I've got the chat. So I've got you repeating yourself. Now you look good.
Sorry.
You look good.
Oh, I need this haircut. I mean, look at
that. You can as of tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. Hairdresser tomorrow.
Very good. Right. That's a strange looking face.
No, Andrew just said Monday.
I thought it was Monday, to be fair. Yeah.
No, it's golf tomorrow.
I'm with Andy on that one.
Yeah, it's golf tomorrow.
I'm just going to get my notes up because I've got some stuff I need to read out. So I'm not very organised today. Let's see if I can move that into there. Let's see if I can do that to there. Just bear with me.
I'm just going to say hello to Carl, hello to Lynn and Jane.
Hello, everyone. No, it's not letting me do what I want to do. So I'm going to close it and open it here. I always talk to myself when I'm trying to do stuff.
You want to understand you?
Right, should we sort it in a minute?
Hi, Claire. Hi, Keith. Hello.
Let me do. No, it's not going to let me do it. Okay. So big announcement today, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. So just to recap, the First Minister Wales in his weekly briefing said that if things stay the way they are, then holiday parks in Wales or self-contained accommodation in Wales, which is quite a wide spectrum. It covers everything from holiday parks to cottages and any form of accommodation which you can stay in, which is fully self-contained. What he said is that if things stay as they are, we can reopen on the 27th of March, which I believe is a Saturday. Now, there are some important caveats to that, which I'm going to get up for you now so I can read them. So, a final decision on this is not being made until the 25th of March. That's 2 days before. On past experience, and I'm going to touch wood.
Touch your head.
Yeah, touch my head. We've not encountered the situation yet whereby he's announced something at his free weekly briefing and then changed it a couple of days before and said, actually, we've changed our mind on that. Well, to my recollection, he hasn't. So if things continue the way they are, then on Saturday, the 27th of March, we'll give the exact time. We haven't really got that far ahead yet. It's 2 weeks Saturday, but our parks in Wales will be open for business on a self-contained basis. And there are some caveats to that. And the first caveat, which is the most important caveat, is unfortunately, that's only for people that live in Wales. So I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed folk out there, especially owners at Park Farm, owners at Clark Bay, and of course, owners at our parks in England who have to wait until the 12th of April. So after the First Minister made the announcement, they released via the press a statement, which I'll get from the BBC News app. And the headline is very clear. It says, lockdown, tourism halt if people from outside Wales book. Okay, it's just on the BBC News website. And what this is saying is that if holiday park operators and operators of self-contained accommodation don't play their parts in restricting access to their accommodation from people from outside Wales, then they will not hesitate to shut us down and fine us. So this is quite a shift, really, because before the government placed the onus primarily on the individuals. So even though we did everything we could within our powers to stop people from coming to the park if they were in a restricted area, ultimately the onus fell onto the individual. What this is saying, and my interpretation of it, is that if people are found to be on the park, it's our responsibility as the park owners as much as the individual themselves. So we have got to be very strict with this for obvious reasons, because what we don't want to happen as a business and as an industry is to be in a position where we're shut down again because we're not controlling who's coming in and off the park. That just can't happen. The good news for those people across the border is that hopefully by the 12th of April, we won't be having this conversation, because you'll be able to join us. So we're only talking a matter really of 2 weeks. And I know that is Easter gone for the second year running. But unfortunately, we are where we are. We don't make the rules. We can only follow them. And as we all know, it's a pretty fast moving thing. You know, it changes all the time. And all we can do is just do our best. Now, the other area we need to talk about as well is people in touring caravans, seasonal tourers. And I've just had a note emailed to me on my other screen from our trade association, who have really just broken down in detail what has been said. And I'll just read some of the headlines from there. So it says, reopening of self-contained holiday accommodation, options for reopening, and a final decision will be made at the next review of regulations on the 25th of March. Okay. So this is what I said at the start of the broadcast. 2 days before, on the 25th, he'll give us the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Hopefully it'll be thumbs up. So it says then bookings can be made for stays from the 27th of March, but this is at people's own risk, and they should check with the accommodation provided before they book. This includes holidays and other serviced accommodations, e.g. B&Bs, hostels, etc., that do provide ensuite rooms and can provide room service meals. That doesn't really apply to us. Other accommodation that is entirely self-contained, e.g. self-catering cottages, apartments, etc., glamping or any other accommodation with ensuite shower, bath, water closet and kitchen facilities. Then it comes to us, holiday caravans, touring caravans, in brackets, including seasonal, motorhomes and campervans where they have their own onboard shower, water closet and kitchen facilities. And it goes on to say that caravan and touring sites will need to ensure the strict application of industry guidance on shared waste disposal and water points. So what they're saying is that we can open shared waste disposal and water points, because when this happened back in the summer last year, there was a huge debate. They delayed decision for weeks and weeks and weeks because they couldn't settle on agreeing as to whether or not with a touring caravan, Gem, if you could have a shared water point facility. Right. So if you can imagine, most touring caravans, most touring parks, apart from very limited few, don't offer full services to the pitch. So you have to go to a central communal point to get your water, and you have to go to an alternative point then to dispose of your waste. So in the first lockdown, the first lockdown, when we came out of it, we knew that self-catering caravans were going to reopen, but there was this big debate and there was this big decision. And I know from inside information that different local authorities were having heated debates, because a lot of the local authorities said that people shouldn't be sharing water points, they shouldn't be sharing waste disposal points, even though they're outside. And in the end, I think they were about 3 weeks behind. And then they said, yes, you can come on the parks. Yes, you can use the shared facilities for water and disposal. And not long after that, they allowed us to open the toilet and shower facility. So I envisage that's going to be pretty much the same. So what we are saying is that if you have got a seasonal tourer, provided you've got onboard facilities, you can still come and enjoy yourselves. You've just got to use the shared water point, which you normally would do, and you've got to use the shared waste disposal point, which you normally would do. But to be explicitly clear, the toilet and shower facilities will not be open just yet. We'll have to wait maybe till the middle of April, or maybe to end of April, beginning of May, before we can reopen those. The other thing to say as well is that legally, we're not allowed to open any facilities on the parks. Some parks will be able to offer a takeaway service, sort of a very basic takeaway service to start with. We're not even allowed to allow people to congregate in the communal areas, sort of like the beer gardens, etc., to eat their food. So it's got to be a matter of you get your food and you have to take it back to your caravan. So we know where we can offer a takeaway service, we certainly will do. But you just have to bear with us, because we're not allowed to serve alcohol. We're not allowed to have anybody near the premises or on the premises other than for collecting their food. But we will write to you and inform you about that within the next week or 10 days.
Still be doing deliveries where you can?
Yeah, that's the aim. That is the aim. It's all down to logistics and whether or not we can all make it fit, which I'm sure we can. We're working on that plan now. But I think the main thing here is, Jem, is that people are allowed to go back to their caravans. That is the main thing. But you know, the sadness to that is the fact that at this moment in time, people from England are not allowed to. But this is really. I did an interview for BBC 6 O'Clock News a few weeks ago, and they asked me about the difference between holiday parks in Wales and England in terms of the government guidelines. And what I said at the time was, as a general rule of thumb, whatever Boris does in England, Mark Drakeford is about three weeks behind in Wales. Now, this is the reverse situation. So credit where credit is due to the First Minister, because he realises, having looked at the data, looked at the statistics, that's a hard word to get out. But when you think about it, we opened last year, not just us, but other holiday parks as well. It was one of the busiest 6 weeks on record, and we did it without any COVID-related incident at all. And then everybody went home, students came back, and it all went pear-shaped. But the point is, we managed to demonstrate that as an industry, we could do this safely, and we could do it by adhering to the guidelines. And that's credit to our customers for helping us, and also to the staff as well for their tremendous work. And no doubt we can do the same again. And this time, we know we're going to be safer because the most vulnerable people in our society have received at least their first vaccination. The numbers are all going in the right direction. So there's no reason why, once we open on the 27th of March, we can't stay open and sort of get back into some sort of normality.
It's I mean, Elizabeth Parr's written, we just all need to play our part, be sensible, and adhere to the rules if we want to keep the parks open.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. So I'm happy to take questions. Just one thing I've got to say as well. I know that there's a lot of people who sublet their caravan or their chalet if it's a Claret Bay. And again, I've got to make this explicitly clear. You've got to follow the same guidelines as we do. You can't let your chalet or caravan, if it's in Wales, to somebody who's not from Wales, who doesn't permanently reside in Wales. And just so we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, if we find that somebody has done that, then there are measures that we can take and will take to stop that from happening, which ultimately could result in your caravan or chalet being.
What do you say that? Literally, as you're saying that, someone's actually written, Graham Jones has written, it will take time to get units ready, so the 2 weeks difference gives us time. The loss of Easter isn't going to kill us. Letting out on the quiet can damage the site and other owners, so play by the rules. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? Look, we will find out about it. We always do. And we can also use our experience from last year. And one of the things last year, now I know a lot of caravan and chalet owners who sublet rely on the OTAs, the online travel agents. In particular, Airbnb is a big provider to a lot of our owners who sublet. And you've got to be careful, because ultimately it's your responsibility, it's your accommodation. And if you're putting it on an OTA website such as Airbnb, you've got to be 100% sure that Airbnb or Booking.com or whatever OTA you use are only allowing people from Wales to stay in your accommodation. It's no good saying to us when we call you and say, look, there's a family here from across the border, from the Midlands or from Cheshire or whatever. That's not going to fly. I've got to make this absolutely clear. It's your responsibility. You've got the same responsibility as we do. We've all got a part to play in this, and we've got to work together. And it's only for a short period of time. And if we don't play ball, if we don't play by the rules, it's going to have a negative effect on all of us and throughout the industry in general.
Well, I've got a couple of questions. First of all, from Arsu. Hello, Arsu.
Hi, Sue.
Would you still be doing track and trace? And if so, could you remind us what it is, please? And hope you're all okay.
At the moment, we've got to wait for some solid guidelines to come through. I would imagine when we open, it will be on the same basis as when we closed last year, or pretty similar. So we need to spend the next few days now, get this weekend out of the way, and as we get into next week, got further guidelines will be published, and our industry will advise us, our industry body will advise us on what we should be doing, and we'll make sure that everybody is given plenty of notice. But I would imagine that some form of track and trace will be in place.
And we'll still be doing everything like fogging the caravans and all that sort of stuff, and all the hand sanitizer all over the parks.
Yeah. All that's gonna remain in situ.
Graham Maureen asks, will we be able to enter someone else's caravan?
No. If you want to, look, you've got to look at what the rules are at the time, and I think there are rules that allow you, and don't quote me on this because it's not something I'm really up on the rules in general, but I think there are rules in Wales that allow you to bubble with another family, but going in and out of people's caravans, I don't think that's acceptable, and I think you just got to bear with us in that respect. And ultimately, when you're on park, you've got to be as aware of the rules as what we are. And if you do go into somebody's caravan and you shouldn't go in there, then there's no way really we can police that. We haven't got that amount of cameras, and we haven't got the ability to do that. So just stop and think about what you're doing. Look up on the government website, is this acceptable? And if it is, then carry on. If it's not, then don't. It's as simple as that. But as to specifically going in and out of people's caravans, I would say the answer to that is no. But with all of these rules, there are sometimes very, very limited and exceptional circumstances. So I suggest, take the time and have a look on the Welsh Government website, and you might be able to get your answer from there.
Ray Green says, I'm confused. Is it a case of if you live in Wales, you can book and stay after the 27th of March, but if you're an owner and you live in England, you can't visit?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, take out of the equation the fact if you own a caravan or not. There's a caravan in Wales. To access that caravan in Wales from the 27th of March for holiday, or to even visit it for the day, you have to reside in Wales permanently. So, one of the things, or one of the reasons we had last year, which because there are some enterprising people, I'll give them credit. They'll call us and say, well, look, I've been in Wales for 2 weeks. I've been, bubbled up with my mother's daughter's cousins twice removed, and therefore I'm in Wales. And the answer to that was, I'm sorry, no, we can't accept
that. Ray Green asks, I was hoping to upgrade on Park Farm van. Can I put a deposit down to hold a deal until the van and pitch is legal to view?
Yes, you can. Yeah, quite a few people have done that, to be fair. We've been doing virtual tours, which have gone really well. So we have a sales team at the caravan, at the caravan park, at the holiday park, and we can call you on WhatsApp, FaceTime, Zoom, Teams, Hangouts, whatever platform you want to do, and we can give you a virtual tour of the caravan, or we can even sort of send you some photos and some videos. And of course, you can pay us a deposit. It's completely refundable upon you viewing the caravan when it's legal to do so. So if there's a caravan that you've seen and you want to purchase it, then contact that particular park, have a chat with the sales team, and they'll be able to help you out.
John Kenmore asks, thanks for the update, Thomas. Can I ask, when will those of us who selected the license agreement extension as part of the goodwill gesture receive new agreements?
You won't actually receive an agreement, but we've got it all. We've all got it. It's all logged. So rather than going through the process of issuing new agreements, which is quite a challenge, because what you're having to do, you're having to sort of overwrite one legal agreement, replace it with another. It involves being signed on both sides. We've got everybody's goodwill gestures signed forms, so we've put an addendum internally onto those license agreements, so we know when the license agreement's due to expire. So you'll have a copy of the license agreement. No doubt you'll have a copy of the goodwill letter, where you've chosen the extension, and you just add the time onto that, and you'll be fine.
Anne-Marie from Llanelli says, sorry to confuse you. We've seen online that you have added the holiday park in Fishguard to your Vale Holiday Parks family. If we book through Ho Seasons for Fishguard, will that be a valid booking? Yes.
Yeah, you can book for Ho Seasons, or you can book through us. Whatever suits you. Our pricing and Ho Seasons pricing is pretty much on par. So obviously I prefer to book direct with us, but if you want to go through Ho Seasons, then of course you can.
Sapphire Jade Long says, so after the 12th of the 4th, hopefully individuals from England can come back and also start letting again, just to make sure before I make amendments.
Yeah, but what you've got to bear in mind is that until it's absolutely confirmed, then I would recommend that whatever plans you make, you need to make sure that you can alter and amend those plans without financial penalty, because it wouldn't be right if you've sort of made these plans and then all of a sudden things change at the last minute, which they can do. We're not envisaging that happening because the figures, like I said at the start, the broadcasts are going in the right direction, but you just got to keep that at the back of your mind.
Nothing else in as yet?
Well, that's good. That is good. Going to be tea then.
Hey, we watched a great new series.
Okay, what's that?
It's actually an old series. It's from 2011. Right. United States of Tara. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's Toni Collette. Do you know who Toni Collette is?
No.
She became a household name for playing Muriel in Muriel's Wedding.
Okay.
And then she did like The Sixth Sense. But she's basically got multiple personality disorder. So in her head, she's got like 4 or 5 people, but she plays all the 4 or 5 people within every scene.
Okay.
And it's good. But all the family are cool with it. They all know exactly. So when the 16-year-old girl that she turns into, T, arrives, they talk to her as T. When the 50-year-old Vietnam bloke turns up, they talk to him as Buck. It's really, really good series.
What's it called and what's it on?
The United States of Tara on Amazon.
Okay, we'll have a look at that.
Really, really good. Graham Jones, Hilary Roberts. Due to living in Tier 4 and then permanent lockdown, we were unable to winterize our chalet. How cold has it been in Wales over the winter? So I do know what problems to expect when I arrive.
Cold. I think it's been as cold in Wales as it has been in England. We share the same climate.
No, saying that actually, because England had a lot of snow that we didn't have.
I mean, look, compared to other years, on a serious note, it's not been a year for major frost damage. Again, I'm going to touch wood when I say that. So I think you should be okay with that.
Linda McKenzie asks, we've noticed through your post, this is from Grandre, we've noticed through your post that you've new tarmac on some of the roads. Is the speed bumps going to be put back in place?
Specifically at Grandre, honestly, I don't know, but I know we have been putting speed bumps back down. So if we've taken speed bumps out, then they will be put back down. And we've got these new type of speed bumps now. These they're like a sharper speed bump, which really make you slow down, so you can't just sort of fly over them.
John Kenmore asks, what's happened to the owner's portal on the Vale website? How do we access our online account to see balances, etc., as the old portal appears to have disappeared?
Yeah, so one of the things we've done over the course of the winter is, we started this last year. We've changed our IT systems and our IT infrastructure. So when the first lockdown was being announced, we sort of sat down, we took stock of it, and one of the things we looked at doing was how can we make ourselves more remote? How can we make things more accessible for our team members to work from anywhere within the world, really? And also we looked at our software systems, and we've changed a whole lot. So we're now fully with Microsoft. Everything's in the Microsoft cloud. And we've now moved over to what's known as an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning System. And it's been a huge change for the company. We went live with it second week in Feb, and we're still getting to grips with it, to be honest with you. So one of the things that means from an owner's perspective is that at this moment in time, you won't have access to your account online. So what you can do in the interim is you can call us, and we'll be happy to send you a statement or talk to you about your balance over the phone. But what we are doing is we are launching new websites this year for both Vale and for Claret Bay. The Vale one will be launched first in the next few weeks, followed by Claret. And then on top of that, we're looking at launching an owner's app and also a renewed portal for you to be able to log on. So that's the plan, but it's not going to happen just yet.
Steve Ward asks, is Parkfest back on?
Wardy. All right, Wardy. Wardy, do me a favour, actually. Ask Ben to call me, because I need to talk to him about a DJ gig for a wedding. So I'm glad you've Yeah, I'm glad you've. Yeah. So the festivals. I mean, look, the festivals is my baby, if you like. I love the festivals. It gives me a chance to be a DJ again for once a year. At this moment in time, I don't think the festivals are going to be going ahead this season. I think we're going to come back with a full offering next season. We may do something on a smaller scale. We may do something that involves some DJ sets and some solo acts, but I don't think that we can commit to
so much planning. And
you've got to plan these things like a year in advance. And Wardy will know this because Partfest is our biggest festival. He knows the effort we go to and what's involved, the logistics of it, the sound, the lighting, the production, getting the bands in, all of that. And the problem is, if we go and commit to this and we book these acts, and you've got to bear in mind, these are people, a lot of these artists are people who've not worked for months and months and months, best part of a year. And what I don't want to do is book them and give them the false hopes that, look, we've got these dates in the diary for you, and then have to call them and say, I'm really sorry, but we can't honour the booking. So what we're looking at doing is coming back bigger, better and stronger next season with the festivals. And a final decision hasn't been made yet, but in all likeliness, we're probably going to press the pause buttons on the festival this year and bring them back next season. But ask Ben to give me a bell.
He's put a thumbs up.
Okay.
Thank you again for the updates. This is from Emily Talbot. Would you have an idea of what time we can access the park on the 27th? And in brackets, early the better would be great, fingers crossed.
So we mentioned this briefly at the start of the broadcast. We haven't come to that. Usually when we've done this before, it's sort of like mid to late morning onwards, but we will let you know. As soon as we know, you'll know. We've all got to sort of have a meeting. All the directors, we're going to have a meeting, have a sit down and discuss it. And like I said, as soon as we know, you guys will know.
Daryl Thomas says, if an English resident has booked a holiday post the 25th of March and the Welsh border has not been open, then can there be an extension to the settling the final holiday balance due to the uncertainty?
Okay, so what we're planning on doing, and it's a good question in that respect, is if we've got somebody not from Wales who's booked to come on holiday, say between the 27th of March and the 12th of April, then we will automatically be cancelling the holiday. We'll obviously contact you to tell you what we've done. And then you'll be given two choices. You'll be you can either tell us an alternative date and we'll book that straight in for you, or we can refund the money, whatever's good. Our preference is, to postpone, not to cancel. So for those of you that might affect, what we'd ask you to do is just have a look at some alternative dates later on in the year, and we will be contacting people over the next few days by telephone to go through that with them.
And that's it so far.
Yeah. So just before we finish, I just want to reiterate with the subletting, you've really got to make sure that you don't allow people who shouldn't be there because of the restrictions to access your caravan or your chalet. That is vitally important. And the other thing as well, you've got to make sure, we spoke about this last year, you've really got to make sure that you have the systems and procedures and risk assessments in place, because we still are under strict guidelines, even though things are going in the right direction. You've got to think about your cleaning regimes. You've got to think about changeovers. You've got to think about risk assessments. Loads of guidance out there on the websites and that, and it's something you may need to familiarise yourselves with again as we come into the new season.
Just had another question come through from Graham Jones. Is it single household families allowed, or two separate families from different addresses? For example, two sisters and their kids. They're only letting out 4 in a chalet anyway, but just wondered.
I think the specific guidance on that is on the Welsh Government website, and I'm not going to attempt to try and remember what it is. I know that there are exceptions where you can bubble with another household. I know there are exceptions, for example, where sort of single parent families can sort of bubble with other families. I'm not sure specifically what the guidelines are, but there are, like we spoke about before, there are limited circumstances and exceptions where you can do that. And I would refer you to the Welsh Government website, and they're pretty good with their questions and answers. They do ask very specific questions and give very detailed answers. That's it. Very good. Okay. Well, what we'll do, I think now as we're getting into the swing of things, I think we'll give another little update a week today. So if you want to put that in the diary, Gem, and for everybody else, same time next week. And if there's anything of importance before then we will let you know. But in the meantime, stay safe, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you back on Park very soon.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.